Hey everybody, this is Heart Attack Mac, and today we are, myself and Alyssa, a friend of mine, are going to start the first episode of our very own podcast. Hooray!
Woo! Get so hyped.
Woo! So we don't really totally know what we're doing with this podcast. If you guys have any recommendations or want to know or want to kind of participate in the direction we go, that'd be great. It's going to be generally a say that twice, / game podcast, but we're going to go off track several times for long times because that's who we are.
Yes, my attention span is like 2 seconds, so expect lots of tangents. It's a thing. It's going to happen.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about our top. I think 4 was the number we came up with. Games. 4-ish games of our lifetime, which is hard because we're old people, of course.
Yes, basically senior citizens.
Right. I mean, we dealt with Pong and Tetris and all that stuff.
True.
None of those are on the list, though, thankfully. So we'll start with you first. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
All right, so I feel like the natural order of things is start with like the least, not the least favorite, the least most favorite, that one. So words. So I would say the bottom of my list is the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That is the one that made the top cut, but not quite my favorite game. So I would say that is on there because, oh man, I don't want to give too much of the plot away because I know Mac hasn't played this, so he needs to play this still. So, but it's got the best twist ending. My mind was I was just So I think that for me, a really, really solid storyline just makes the best game. So I know everyone has their own preferences in what makes a game good, which is why we have such a diversity of games, which is awesome. But for me, that makes the list because the story is so good, and then the way they just drop that bomb. Can't say it, won't say it because I'm not ruining it for you, Mac, but it's so good.
So is this a one and done game, or have you played this a couple times?
So I feel with a lot, not all BioWare games, because some of them aren't so good. Aspect Andromeda. Sorry, there's just something in my throat there. It's fine. It's whatever. But I think that when you replay it, you're definitely not gonna have that same moment. But I think the nice thing about a good plot twist is when you go back and play it, you almost re-experience it because when you when the twist that's coming, you kind of are oh, this makes so much sense now. Now I understand. So I feel in that sense, there's the replayability, but also BioWare always does such a good job with choices. So, you might play the first time as this really good... It's a Star Wars game, as people probably figured out. But, you might be the really good Jedi that doesn't do anything. And then you might play through again and you kill all your companions and are a terrible person. So, I think it still has that replayability, even though you do lose out on that first playthrough where you're just whoa.
Yes, I agree. So wait, do you want to do your next one, or do we want to go back and forth on each other?
I say we go back and forth because people don't want to hear me talk. I'm sure they want to hear me talk. So I'll let them listen to you.
Okay. So generally the games I'll play not first person shooters generally are not my favorite, but I like them. I'll play more of just action storyline games. My first is going to be Fallout 3 / New Vegas. I'm counting it as one game just because I'm a huge fan of the series in general. I love Fallout 3. It's just it's a nostalgia game for me because that's the first game I played to get me into the series. But I do think I love the DLC in 3. I know Alyssa's not a fan of DLC, but it's very good. I won't get you started.
Speaking of tangents.
But New Vegas, I think, is the best standalone game of the two. I just like as far as literature is concerned, when I read, post-apocalyptic themes are my favorite, and I think Fallout does a good job of with the dialogue. I mean, the way that the characters just kind of stare at each other is a bit weird, but that's just a Bethesda thing. But how they do the dialogue and they set up the aesthetics, I love that. And all the items, it's just, there's a lot of detail put into it. So I have to put that at my number one.
Oh man, see, you started with your top game. I started with my. It's all right. We'll meet in the
So
middle.
we're gonna go backward.
Our goal.
Gonna confuse everyone.
That's what I say. Is basically this podcast. The entire purpose of it is to make you feel as confused as possible. So goal achieved right there.
Yes, hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, if you're keeping up, then we're failing. So.
Yeah, I say. Well, and that the nice thing about Fallout 3 is that we both played it, but I just haven't finished it. It's fine. So, you want a fun story from the past? So I got to this part at the end. Okay, this is some spoilers just coming up, just to let you know. But there's like this part at the end where you have like before the final quest. You know, like they have those like little bonus quests where you can get a better ending, kind of. So you want to do that to like give yourself that edge in the final battle. Yeah. So, of course, that is like this. It's like finding this city. Oh my gosh, this was like a million years ago when I was back in college, back in the day. You know, like 2 years ago. It's fine. But. When I was a young lass, like, you had to go to this city, and the only way I could figure out to get to it was through this quarry that was full of death claws, and I must have spent out. Do you know what I'm talking about? So,
is this in New Vegas?
Yes, New Vegas.
Yeah,
yes.
I know what you're talking about.
So, Matt came to visit me. I was at Clemson at the time, and Matt came to visit me, and he was like, "Oh, I can do this." He couldn't get past. You couldn't get past it either.
I couldn't have forgot.
No, we couldn't for whatever. It probably was because I like didn't play it well enough, so like I didn't have the right equipment. So yeah, realistically, because I don't like to get bogged down in like the, you know, I don't want to craft things. Like I don't want to. That's too much work. I just want to just play the game. Like it's fine. So being the completionist that I am, refuse to finish the game. So I just have this save file where like, I'm just sitting in the stone quarry because I won't finish the game without doing the side quest, but I also can't finish the side quest. So, you know, if anyone has pointers, you just feel free to let me know because here we are.
Yeah, I think I remember exactly what you're talking about now.
Oh my gosh,
that was
it's all right.
That was a day.
There's no irrational anger here. It's totally fine. It's whatever. All right, so game number 3, math. We were doing 4, right? Yep, that's what.
Yep.
3's the one. So, numbers are hard. Words are hard. Numbers are hard. So, next, I would say my next pick is a game called Ori and the Blind Forest. And it just happened to come with my Xbox One. And when I got it, oh my gosh, I love that game. Because, like, I don't normally like I said that storyline is my big seller on a game. So, like, typically, I'm not going to go for the games that kind of feel like they have a really repetitive mechanic, but I love this game. Like, I think they do such a good job. First of all, it's freaking beautiful. Like, something like turn on a game and you're like, I see you work. Like, it's so, like, visually appealing. So I think that, yeah, like, and I'm sure you could speak to that. Like, visually appealing a game is, like, so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really sells it for me. And you said you just bought it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. The Steam Winter Sale, so I'm super excited to start doing that.
Gotta love the Steam sales, man. Those are dangerous.
Oh my god! There was one year where I didn't buy. It was probably 2 years ago. I went through the winter and the summer, didn't buy anything.
So proud.
And I was so proud of myself. And then after that, yeah. I mean, this year wasn't too bad, but. So, have you played Limbo or Inside?
No, I've never heard of Limbo. I think I've heard of Inside, though. Give me the premise, though, just to make sure. What is that game about?
So Limbo Limbo and Inside are not, like, story-wise connected, but I think they're the same publisher, and they're basically the same kind of deal. But, wait, what do you want to know about?
So I haven't heard of Limbo. So, not
Limbo, okay.
Inside was the one, because I think I've heard it. Like, that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I played that earlier, so maybe that's where, I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Limbo is, I mean, the premise is so vague, and the cool thing about the game is that this isn't one of my 4, I'm just cheating and talking about it.
It's fine, whatever. There's no rules. We decided there's no rules. It's whatever. You know, we're probably going to just forget it. We'll go off topic, whatever, it's good.
It doesn't matter anymore. So the cool thing about Limbo and Inside together is that they basically tell a story, and you play an entire game without hearing one single word. And it's sort of... I know Ori is prettier than this game is, but it uses aesthetics very well to make you feel like you're there. I mean, you're just like a single boy, and all you do is you push and pull stuff, climb, and set. You know, you it's a puzzle game. but there's a lot of cool stuff that it uses music to kind of just envelop you in it and show you, we don't need to talk to you to understand the story and to,
right.
give you a cool game.
It's almost like impressive because once you take out like something, because I mean, speech and dialogue make a huge difference in a game. So by removing that, I'm sure it makes it like that much more impressive that they're able to get the message across.
Yeah.
And drive the story. Because I guess Ori does have a story. Like there is a story to it, but it's not like. I feel like if you're playing like something like BioWare, Knights of the Old Republic, it's gonna be the main focus of the game is the story. So I guess that's more so what I'm saying. But like I think that's really really cool, and so I do choose Ori because it's like it just does a good job of having that kind of like you're gonna have to jump around and go through like all the areas, which for me I can kind of get bogged down in that a little bit and not in like lose focus. Hence why I had to stop playing Skyrim. I was just like, oh, it's too much. It's too many things. So
yeah.
Basically what I'm saying is I'm small-minded and I can't handle what Skyrim wants to deliver. So
I'm still halfway done, so we're on the same page.
I finished it. I did finish it, but like,
no,
man. I had to like come. Oh man, there were moments when I was like, I like have to finish this, but it was like for the sake of it more than anything. But it's still a great game. But it wouldn't be placed on my top list because I can't go back to it. Like there's no going back. I like finished it and I was like, all right, done. It's like a school project. Like I'm not. So, all right. So Ori, good. Like that game a lot. I'm really excited for you to play it. I think you're gonna be muy impressed. So, all right, So what's your number 2?
So my number 2 good is none of these are by any means bad. So just consider them all great. Maybe.
Yes.
If anything, my second is Binding of Isaac. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out. Like, comment, subscribe. Just kidding. It's so it's a
subtle, real subtle.
If it's not that's just a stupid thing I do. Just unsubscribe, take off your like, all that stuff.
It's true. Yeah, please don't. Just leave. Really, it's alright. we don't.
We'll
want
have
you
fun
here.
without you.
This is the moment where everyone clicks away and they're like, okay.
No more. Binding of Isaac is a game where you play a little boy, and he's got a mother. So it's
Me
slightly.
too. I have a mother too. It's so relatable.
And I have one too, but I hope it's not the same thing. You're not
okay.
a boy, so it won't. You probably won't be threatened to be killed. Hopefully.
Yeah, probably not. You don't know my life. You don't know where I've been.
Binding of Isaac has it's sort of religious, not really. It's about a mom who basically is told sort of like the Cain and Abel. Oh my God! Wait, hold on. I gotta remember stuff. Not Cain and Abel. This is so stupid.
Thoughts are hard too. It's fine. Like life is just hard. It's you get some leeway, like a little baby bit of leeway.
Who is told to kill their son?
No, it's Isaac. It's
Yeah, it is Isaac, but
it's Isaac. Isaac is the son, though. It's
right.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
yeah.
This is wow.
Get Shrek.
So many people are disappointed with me right now. I knew it until you said that. This is your fault.
Yep. So it's okay.
Gosh.
So
I want to say it's Abraham and Isaac, but I'm not sure that's true.
I don't think so.
I'm not looking this up on my phone right now. This is I'm just thinking really hard. It's all gonna be from memory. Don't you worry.
Okay. So until then, and then just shout it out. Okay. So it's sort of referring to that how so Isaac's mom and him are like having a great day, great life, and she watches a lot of Christian broadcasts, and basically God tells her, like your son is corrupt and you need to take his stuff away. So she takes stuff. And then he's like, still corrupt. In the end, he's like, you just gotta kill him for me. And she's like, okay. And really, this isn't necessarily a game targeting people with religious beliefs. It's really just saying, like, the more you kind of just control and, keep your kid in a little box, they may end up a different way than you want them to. So, like, in the game, it's kind of like a dungeon type game, sort of Zelda-esque, where you fight monsters and it's 2D. One of those aerial games. But the thing is, you get items and trinkets throughout the game, and they make Isaac like change shape and turn into different things, and he kind of gets gruesome, and that's kind of conveys the point of, if you just kind of let him live his life, and he might be, not crazy. But that's not the point of the game in any way. It's just kind of like a secondary thing you see within the game. The cool for me, why it's my second is the replayability. I play it all the time, like at least once every couple days or once a week. And the replayability is insane. I mean, I find different items all the time. The version that just came out, I think has 300 different items or something, and each combines with each other its own way. So you can just basically play forever and have different endings, and the monsters are awesome. So my tangent is over, but
No,
in the
good.
end, find this game because, especially if you like doing arcade type video games, because that's how it is, and it's not just like a gauntlet where you do the same stuff, you fight the same monsters. You kind of have some variety in there, lots of variety.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
did you find it?
I did. So, and this is gonna be no shock to anyone, but I was correct. It is Abraham and Isaac. So yeah, it is
No
Abraham.
shock to anyone.
Oh my god. When am I ever right about anything? Never. So this is a good moment for me. And now it's gonna be forever solidified in history that I was right. So this is all I need.
Right there.
All
Bam.
right. But like I think that's really cool because I think for a game to be your favorite, there has to be some aspect of replayability. So regardless of, it might just be that you enjoy it so much that you could play it forever. But I think that the fact that you're like I don't think there's any game I can think of that I would play like on a regular basis over and over and over again. So I think that's like really a really unique aspect to that game. So maybe I'll check that one out.
Oh, you should. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. There isn't much I would do the same with either.
Yeah. Because, which is, fair. I mean, especially because I think that one thing that we really share in video games is we like the storyline, RPG kind of style. And there's certainly games that get out of that, I think. But when you are playing a story-driven game, once you get the story, you're like, okay, that's, cool. But the games that really enthrall you so much that you want to continue reliving that story, I think that that's, a really good indicator of a good thing. Whose turn is it? I forgot.
True. You.
It's my turn. You're right.
Yo.
Because Abraham and Isaac, you were so right. Okay.
Because I won.
Woo! So my numero 2 game. So for me, this is my second favorite game. Since we're going backwards, it's fine. It's whatever. Just kidding. Since we're I chose Star Wars Battlefront 2. Particularly played on the PlayStation 2, and that's for me is because, I think that I remember my brother getting this game back when I was actually a young lass, and this was kind of one of those games that got me into playing video games, and it was kind of my brother and his friends would come over and we just hash it out, battle for the galaxy. But I think that this game is really cool because I guess I really like the dynamic of the space battles, and I think that was a really cool aspect and something that I'd never really seen before. Secretly, don't tell anyone this. This is just just between you and me and the internet. It's fine. I really like this game because the space battles I could beat my brother at. He was terrible at them. So shout out to my brother for being a loser. But I think it was really, really this cool aspect of strategy, and you had the two different routes you could take. You could just shoot ships out on the outside of the. Oh my gosh! All the Star Wars fans.
Star Destroyer.
Yes, I knew that. Totally didn't.
Or the
I just saw.
I
just saw that movie. They referenced that. So wow, it's alright. It is what it is. But I think it was really, really cool that you had these different approaches you can take, and you can go in the ship or be on the outside of it. And I just thought that was really, really cool. And it's really fun to play with friends. Which when you're a lone RPG player, it's good to sometimes, even when you're an extreme introvert, you have to venture out into the world and interact with other people. So once in a while, not a lot. That's why it's not number 1, because my number 1 game definitely is not a multiplayer game. That's terrible. So, but
Done.
But it's I think that a lot of these games on this list for me are really nostalgic, and it's because they were games that came out a long time ago, and I really, really enjoyed and kind of grew up playing, and so I think that aspect helped too. But I think that just in general, the dynamic was really, really something that was kind of new, and I think that the lasting nature of the game is a testament to that. Is a lot of people really, really like Star Wars Battlefront 2, and even to this day.
Yeah, definitly.
So the moral of the story is don't have your own opinions, just like what everyone else likes.
And oh man, I just destroyed my desk. And just to clarify, unless the PlayStation 2 thing wasn't a hint that we're talking about the old Battlefront 2, not the new one, because it is better in some ways, not all, but yes.
No,
And
no. Hipster. See, I'm a hipster, so I'm
Right,
too
hipster.
cool for the new Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's the old one for me, sorry.
and my wallet is too cool to purchase it either.
The truth comes out.
So really quick, just because Star Wars is on the mind, I'm gonna have to like reference The Last Jedi. It's a spoiler, so just like putting the alarms out there too for that. It's not really that big of a spoiler, but just if you want to watch the movie and not know anything, ignore the next like, I don't know, minute and a half. But okay, gonna
Ray
talk
dies.
about do what?
Then Rick dies in the end.
No. So I wish insert Darth Vader, yell. So I'm just going to talk about the whole... I'm not even going to talk about the fact that Princess Leia didn't die in space. I'm like, that was weird to me. But the thing that made me so mad was how, the transport ship's getting fire. It's almost done. And the general's like, I'm going to do something no one's thought to do. Go to hyperspace into the Star Destroyer. And that made me so mad because I'm thinking here... Okay, so how long has war been happening against Star Destroyer type machines, ships, and nobody has thought to put a droid in a transport ship and do the same thing? Like, no, they would have gotten destroyed. Shields are better than that. I don't agree. And that needed to happen.
I was gonna say, like, I think that this I thought the same thing when I left, except that mine was more the opposite. I was like, I guess I definitely see your point. I was just thinking like. They would have done this before. Like, this isn't... I think that, like, a lot of people left the movie, like, what? This is, like, not that great of a tactic. Like, this is just common sense. Like what?
Yeah, right? Because I thought she was just going to be like, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to drive this ship, but I'm going to die with it. But no, she does that. And I'm like, you are not a tactical genius. You're just you. And you didn't think of any... Yeah, unnecessary. Unnecessary roughness. Rebel Alliance.
Hey, you know what? You gotta have feels, okay? It's important. We all were very attached to that character whose name I definitely remember.
And she was only introduced in this one episode, but that's fine.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
Snoke.
Snoke. Okay.
God, I miss Snoke.
I just want a backstory. like who is Snoke? Like, where did he come from? I just don't... Like, I have so many questions.
Yeah, he's got a... I was talking to some people about either... There are one of two things that will happen. Either Disney really messed up and they didn't release a backstory on him and he died and that's it. Or, I guess this is more spoiler, but or he died and that was part of his plan and he's going to come back somehow. Because he made it like he was setting it all up for Kylo Ren, and when he comes with girl, I always forget her name. What's her name?
Wait, what part are we talking about?
The girl, not the Kylo Ren brings the girl to Snoke.
Rey?
The Jedi girl. Rey.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't think you'd forgotten Rey's name, so that was the
it's a thing I do.
It's alright.
So and then Snoke says, I can see everything you do and every motivation you want to do. Like, was Kylo really that good of a Jedi where he could fool Snoke, who's this master Sith Lord, or
maybe he was like thinking like in a very rudimentary way, because I think that
Maybe.
it was like, because who knows how, I mean, this is me playing devil's advocate here because, I don't think they need my defense, but like, who knows what he means by know every thought. Maybe it's like his desires and inclinations, because if it was more like that, then I don't know, because like his true enemy, or maybe he was just thinking really hard, like true enemy, not Rey, true enemy, like, or Rey, not true enemy.
Yeah, right. Like, and he's just like, what the fuck are you thinking about, dude?
So many. Yeah. Okay. I know that a lot of people didn't like that movie. I loved that movie because I'm a simple person. I like lightsabers, and when I see lightsabers, I get very excited. I'm like, this is so good. So, but there were definitely like, I want to say that the friend that I saw it with, we stood in the parking lot, this sketchy like IMAX parking lot. Would recommend. Tangent. Seeing it IMAX 3D. Would recommend. But
Would recommend. I would watch again. 10 out of 10.
Yes, exactly. But we probably spent like 30 minutes in the parking lot talking about plot holes, or like not even plot holes, but like gushing about it and then talking about the things that were kind of inconsistent. And there were some things, but like I said, I'm a simple person. I just enjoy movies. I don't need to think too hard about them. I'm good. So.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Very
video
similar.
games. I don't even remember what we're talking about now.
Video Egos, yes. So you did your top second or top
My
third?
my second.
So do I. Oh, yeah, right. So I would go to my third. I forgot that I haven't done that yet. So my third is a video game called Lone Survivor. Not the film about the U.S. Marine Army guy. I can't remember which. They get trapped under a helicopter in the Middle East, which is always what I find when I look it up on YouTube. It's not that. It's a video game made by, actually, Jasper Byrne. The reason it's one of my favorites, and a little shout out to Matt Watson. He introduced me to this game. I'm pretty sure. I think yes. I remember he told me it was great.
Solid shout out. Solid shout out.
solid partial shout out. No, he did. He told me about the game. And he was just like, hey man, there's this game. It's indie. I normally don't play indie, so I was just like, okay, I don't really care, but just keep talking because I'm being polite. And he was just like, this is indie game. I love it. It's made by one guy. I mean, you see credits. Other people were involved, but for the large part, this one guy, Jasper Byrne, made the music, like the score. He made the dialogue, wrote the dialogue. He designed the game. He drew the game. He did all this on his own. And the game is amazing. It's not just because, it's one person made it. That's what a wonderful feat. It's so cool because you're this guy. You wake up in another day of the post-apocalyptic whatever. Sounds boring to most people because a lot of games are like that these days. But I beg to differ. If you play the game, you'll see why. He talks to himself a lot. There are some characters, but they're very limited in their dialogue. Some of it is really it's everyday dialogue, but you appreciate it because of how little you have in the game and how bare bones it is. You're like, wow, I kind of you are empathetic to this guy because he's the lone survivor and you kind of feel like that too. So every little bit of contact you have, you feel the same thing. You're like, oh my god, you're a person finally. and then there are like a few people who end up getting hurt or die, and it really is. I mean, honestly, like I played this on my channel. I probably didn't in the channel because it's the third time I played it, but I honestly cried when one of the guys died at the end because I was like, this makes me so sad, Panda, and it really should not because he is almost meaningless. Like the amount of space and actual value he put in this game was really not that much, but they make you feel a lot for nothing, which is amazing. And the score is perfect. I listen to it all the time on my own and like just not with video games, and I love it. So yes,
that's the thing. Don't worry. Yeah,
cool.
A friend of mine in college told me to start cooking with the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Also would recommend. Okay, there's nothing that makes you feel like more of a legitimate, like, badass individual than putting in some headphones and playing like soundtrack. Like you could even make the sound like movie score Pandora playlist, and it just like you're walking on the sidewalk, but like no, like you are walking on that sidewalk. It's the best.
You are climbing. No, my wife and I, when we went to, I'm from Colorado, but we visited a few weeks ago. Weeks ago? No, like a couple of years ago. And
same difference.
We're like,
time is. This is YouTube. Time doesn't matter here.
We're driving up the mountain, and while we were in Colorado, we went to this store. It's called Second and Charles, and they do like used movies, video games, and books, and one of those places. For some reason, I went to another state and bought like who buys CDs? So I bought like Star Wars CDs, and you do? Well, good. That's good. That is good.
I know. I love going to Goodwill and buying CDs. I really am a hipster. I'm just into that.
I only listen to 8-track because that's where you get the crispness of the audio.
Oh my gosh, I have a record player. Confessions.
Loser?
I do. Have
Me too. I do too.
It's a good time. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
You were in Colorado. CDs.
So, CDs. So we've got the Phantom Menace, and we've got Lord of the Rings 2 Tower. soundtrack. Driving into the mountains, like
Heck
you
yeah.
are going through the Misty Mountains. I don't care what the hell you think is actually happening. That's really what's happening.
That is such a smart idea. Mistakes were made.
Yes.
Every road trip should be facilitated with a soundtrack. That's incredible.
Yes. Where were we from there?
Well, you were just talking about how from Lone Survivor, the aspects of the game that make it really good, which I think is so true. Like you have your like having an incredible soundtrack can really make a difference. And I was talking about, a storyline makes a good game, but you were saying storyline sound like there were all these things that were encompassing to make it a good game.
Agreed.
Yes,
yeah.
that thing.
That thing. Okay, good. You wrapped that up perfectly. Now, your third. Go.
My third. Okay. So this is my number one game. Top pick.
Wait, it is? Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I thought it was... Man, I'm behind. Okay. Yeah, we're already
here. We're here.
Yes.
You're in the Misty Mountains. That's fine. So I would say my favorite game, and everyone has their favorite game for different reasons, but my favorite game will definitely be Dragon Age Origins. I absolutely adore this game. Mac knows this. He's known this for a long time because I probably never shut up about it, but I love this. I so love this game. It's so good. Oh my gosh. It makes me so happy. But I think so like we've talked about storyline a lot. Like I think it has that phenomenal storyline, but I think that the most unique thing about it is like the concept of origin and how they really put in such an effort to give you such like a variable play experience, because you have the different races, like the kind of Tolkien, you have your dwarves, your elves, your humans, and then you have mages, non-mage. But I think that the coolest thing about it is most games that you play, you may choose your background, but by and large, like you might choose your class and your race and things like that. But then by and large, the game in the beginning is still the same. Whereas you've got, I think it's 6. I honestly would not be surprised if I had that memorized, but that's the number that's coming to me. But you have these different ways to start, and it's this completely like intense 30 minutes or so of extra gameplay that you only get for that character backstory, which I think is so incredible. And so you can play this game 6 times and people treat you differently. Your choices change, but like completely based on, and I think that's such an incredible thing. And I just love the story, and I like the characters. So and it's kind of like you were saying, like they make you care so much about, like in Lone Survivor, they make you care so much about this one character that's kind of meaningless. You kind of get that same aspect there of like, does this character matter to the story? Not like that much. No, this person is not real. Why am I like, why do I care? But you get so invested and you're like, oh man. So yeah. I could go on and on about this game. Like I just adore it.
And just a little like sidetrack about, have you seen Matt's video, Two Lovely Uncles, recently?
No.
Okay. It's a music video. It's a stupid music video. Like, he won't be offended that I said that, because it's like, it's a stupid music video, but like,
stupid.
him and Ryan and I think Oni filmed it with them. They do it really well, and a lot of people. I was hanging out with him in LA a little bit ago, and we were talking about it, and he goes, "Yeah, Mac, some people said that like it made them cry. Like they got really emotional in it because it's about this kid, his 2 lovely uncles, and they die. But it's like it's a stupid concept, and it's just kind of like it's whimsical and funny, and then like these uncles die, and it's still funny though. And he says that he's like, Heck, I
that's
don't really
because we're terrible people. We think things that are funny that should never be that funny. We're just like
right.
like cracking up like kids.
And he goes back, why is this funny? Like I mean, not funny. Why would they do that? Why would they cry? I'm like, honestly, Matt, I like had a little tear going in this video too. And people who have seen it will think I'm stupid. But also, I told him like, the reason is, you're a good artist when you take something that isn't meant to make you feel, and it makes you feel something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. We had a moment for like a second.
Well, that moment mattered. That one moment mattered.
It mattered. Ha ha.
Well, and I think that like evoking, and that's meant because I'm an emotional person, but like evoking emotions, I think is something really, really powerful in the game. And I think that for me, the ideal game is one that like makes me like it's almost like a good book. Like once you finish the book and the series is over, you have this like almost sadness of like, oh my gosh, like it's done, like it's gone, And that kind of was like the telltale sign that like you really enjoyed it, and it was so good that this world is gone. You're like, no, I want this back. So maybe that's just me, but I think that is really, really, really.
No, I think a lot of people get that.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, so I think that our common themes here, and you can correct me if I forget something or add something in, but it seems to me like for us there's like a touch of nostalgia, like a little sprinkle of nostalgia really makes a huge difference. Of
add that gif in
because
there.
I think like the people you played them with and where you were at that stage of life, like that makes a huge difference as to whether that game is memorable and lasting.
Yes.
Replayability, I think, is a huge factor, whether it be because we enjoyed the game so much or because it just is such a complex game that you can play it over and over again. And also, I think the just storyline in general, like being engaging, like the more it keeps you engaged, the better it is.
Yeah, I agree. And I watched a top 100 video game video from Nerd Cubed, I think is his name. I love that. That was cool. It was like he had like 10 different videos, and he would go through and talk about each, like why each one is his favorite, or like on the list and stuff. And he would talk about like how this list was like 500 games, and he had to break it down. And those were his main things, were the replayability, the nostalgia, and the storyline. And yeah. And so it was funny. I was watching that, and a lot of the ones that were in his were mine, and I was like, oh, that's still pretty cool though. That we're all unique, and I don't have to feel sad panda when I think I'm wrong. But
yeah.
But that's So that was a cool.
Yeah,
cool set of videos.
And I think it's kind of like comforting to know that it's a universal. So
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, feel free to tell us what your favorite games are. Like hopefully there's something in here that made you think that I want to play that, because like I know that it sounds like some of your games I need to play through. I need to finish Lone Survivor, but you spoiled it for me, so it's fine though. Whatever.
No, I didn't.
Someone unimportant dies. Okay, I didn't know that. Now I do.
Yeah. Well,
You're incredibly general in a post-apocalyptic world, Mac. No one dies. That's an obvious spoiler.
Right. Correct about that one.
No. So
yes.
But hopefully something in here maybe you guys want to play through. You can let us know. If you tell me you don't like Dragon Age Origins, I might cry, but that's fine. It's all right. You know what? All my self-worth is invested in what you guys think.
It takes a lot of patience to play Dragon Age.
Yeah, but when you have no life like me and no friends, then it's fine. You just play it. It's good. You're all good.
And I don't, so that's how I got to play it.
Yeah, exactly. Woo! Oh.
Yeah, that was a good game, though.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So,
did I tell you I finished it last year?
Dragon Age? You just finished it just now? Like all three of them, or like just the first one?
Oh, just the first one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on the DLC, and I don't know if I want to keep going with it, because...
Which DLC? Amaranthian?
I don't remember.
I'm such a loser.
I need to check it out. I haven't opened it in a little bit.
Okay, wait, so you are playing through it now. Yeah, see, like I said, I think that for every person is different, and for me, that's just the style of game that I happen to really enjoy, so.
Mm-hmm.
I'll only judge you a tiny bit for not enjoying it. But
only a bit?
A little baby bit, but...
A little bit.
But I remember you playing through Dragon Age 2. I watched you on Twitch for a little bit do that, so I was thinking...
Oh, wait. Was I playing through 2?
You were playing through 2, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because Anders was in it.
Oh, yeah. I gave up on the DLC. That's what happened.
Okay.
So I did start 2. Yeah.
2 is easily the worst in the entire series. Like,
why am I playing it then?
Because the story's important.
You suck. Okay, well...
I think the characters are just... I think, first of all, the Amaranthian, which is like the DLC that came after Dragon Age, it's kind of like... It's not as good. It's like the characters just... If you're really in the game for the characters and that aspect of it, it's really not as good. So I think that in that sense, it really falls flat to the original game. I feel like it was really rushed, and you can kind of see that. But Dragon Age 2... There's some, like, really cool mechanics to Dragon Age 2. Like, I love that you have the nighttime and daytime, and it changes kind of your interactions and what happens. So there are things that they did well, but by and large, not my favorite. Not like it's just not the best game in the series. But
Right.
Inquisition's almost more Skyrim like though. It's kind of got that open world, which is good and bad. Like it's nice because I think that gives players a lot more freedom. But if you're a completionist like me and you've suddenly got 800 quests that are take this ring to this person and this, and I'm like, I want to get everything done, but I hate myself. Then I think that in that aspect, it gets kind of tiring, which is why Skyrim can be kind of tiring to me too. Is I like, why am I doing this mundane quest that means, which, because all RPGs have those, but
Assassin's Creed 1.
I've actually never played. I played like 10 minutes of an Assassin's Creed game. That's a slight under-exaggeration, but I really need to play those.
The story's great. I mean, like, and people argue it's the same for all of them, and I'm not going to get into that because I know how cancerous that discussion is, talking about how I may not like all of the Assassin's Creeds. But the first one is, there's a consensus that it's, like, the story is very good, but they screw you around a lot. Like, where half the game, you have these mandatory side missions that are all the same, like the follow this guy but don't get caught, or the go find this or defeat this guy, and they all feel the same and just regenerated, but you have to do them.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
Yeah,
like
that's the hard part.
like I like grinding here. Like, oh, I just can't. Like, oh man, I can't do it, but it takes so much out of me, like emotionally, and I'm just like, I have no energy. Reasons why I play video games and don't go on real life adventures, because I would just be like, no, bye. Exactly. Like, oh no, I don't want to walk places. I just want to feel good about myself for defeating this enemy. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh,
So much easier.
it
So,
is.
for the moment you've all been waiting for, my least favorite of my favorite games is, drum roll please, because that's what a drum roll sounds like.
A drum roll on my computer, as if anyone could hear it, but it's all right. Stuff counts.
It's like
You know
tippity
what
tap.
I didn't realize you hadn't told. Oh my gosh, I did not realize you hadn't said your last game. I'm the worst. I think it's
Yes,
just
I know.
I only care about myself. I was like, we're speaking everything up. So,
I was
sorry.
aware of that. I was like, I'll let her ride her little thing she's got
Thank
going
you.
on here. Yes.
Thank you.
s-
I appreciate that.
So the last of the best, Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 is a game. It's a very good game. It is one of the most linear games I've played ever. And a lot of people, I actually watched Ego Raptor talk about this game one time on Game Grumps, and he talked about it for like 20 minutes, and was sarcastically saying it was bad when he liked it, and I was getting really pissed because he was like, it's linear, blah, 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 and I thought he was saying it was like in a bad way, and I kind of got defensive because I'm like, this is one of my favorite games, and I think that the cool part is that it does it chooses basically everything for you. You don't have, not like in Dragon Age or Knights of the Old Republic or Fallout, where you're like, you have this decision, kind of be good or bad, which is what you kind of would think, but you're really just, you are not Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Freeman, or Morgan Ramsay.
Exactly.
I always call him Morgan Freeman, not Gordon Freeman. You are Gordon Freeman, hero of this place, and you are like, that is what you are. You cannot change anything. But the thing that I think is the coolest part about it is just the storytelling. That's why it's not up on the list. Like, the coolest part is the storytelling and the puzzles, and that's basically it. But I mean, I think that's enough to make it that high. Half-Life 2 goes and makes itself into an extra episode and second episode after this game. And I mean, they are basically standalone games that continue the story. And it's a cool way that they incorporate the characters. They have a lot of weapons. It's a shooter, but it's got puzzles, which normally shooters didn't have. Because I mean, this game came out, the first one, I think in 2003 or 4. And that was kind of not really a standard for those types of games. And so it was cool getting involved in that. You're like, I have to think this time. The bosses are actually difficult, and they're not in just a set area with, I mean, they are in a set area, but it's not like Zelda where you walk behind them and you're like, I see the hole, I got to just throw some in there. You have to actually think about it. You might have to do a couple things, complete a puzzle to actually kill the boss. But yeah, Fallout Half-Life, the Grace, yes.
That one, the game.
The game.
The game with the name. It's got a
The
2 in
game,
it.
the
Same
movie.
difference. All number 2 games in series are exactly the same, so it's fine.
Yeah, of course.
Like Dragon Age 2 and Half-Life 2, same par of goodness.
Nah.
I think it's really interesting because like the linear aspect, it can be hard to do well. And it sounds to me, because I've never played Half-Life. I don't think I've played any of them. But I may have seen someone play through Half-Life 2. I have to like revisit it. I might have watched a Let's Play on that one. Possibly. It's a possibility. But when you have a linear game, it's really easy to lose focus and feel trapped almost. This doesn't, because when a game's like linear, it's harder to put yourself in it, I think, because when you lose that choice. So for them to be able to have that linear aspect of it and still engage you and still make it interesting and complex, I think is really a testament to how good the game is.
Yeah, and there are a couple parts where you can kind of venture off, and I found recently, like, replaying the game, there's one level where there's a tunnel, and if you, like, do some stuff to get in, you find a Vortigaunt nest. Vortigauns are, like, aliens that are nice and help humans. Basically, the game are humans, and then in Half-Life 1, these scientists are trying to open up a portal to see other places, other dimensions, and they accidentally open one to this dimension I can't remember the name of. It releases monsters into the world, and Gordon Freeman is taking it slow.
Chef Gordon Freeman.
Chef Gordon Freeman Ramsay is he basically is like the hero of the world, and he has to he helps everybody. He gets from plan A to plan B. He is like a PhD doctor that is a badass MF motherfucker. He knows what to do, and then ends up to be like there's some corrupt people in Half-Life 2, and they decide to like make a deal with these aliens and say, hey, you can take over the world if you like make me a sort of leader of it. And the game I trailed off. The Vortigaunts are one of those aliens, but they're a race that it's a good race inherently, and Gordon had done some things in the beginning to help them, so now they're just indebted to humans in general. And you go in this sewage pipe and you find them, and it's just like kind of a cool thing because you're like, this is a linear game, but I went off the path and actually found something different. And it's made in 2004 where they didn't have a ton of extra achievements, so that was interesting for me. But that was my.
I'm gonna be really honest with you. All I'm picturing now is Chef Gordon Ramsay like trapezing in space and like encountering aliens and being like, it's raw, like trying alien cuisine.
It's wrong. It's all wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a waste of space.
Gordon Ramsay. Have you seen Kitchen Nightmares?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's this TV show where Gordon Ramsay goes into like kitchens. It's confusing, right? Like, who saw that coming? Kitchen Nightmares. He goes in kitchens.
I know, right?
And it's a nightmare. And he goes to these restaurants that are failing and calls out all their horrible mistakes. And okay. I've just been binging that, so I just know too much about Gordon Ramsay now. I'm actually I've watched his reality TV show, so I feel like I know him on a very deep and personal level. Working in a restaurant, just it makes you appreciate it. You're like, yep, all restaurants are like this.
All right, I forgot you did that for a little bit.
Oh,
yeah,
I did.
I imagine just like we should Photoshop Gordon Ramsay and then get the suit that Gordon Freeman wears and put it over, and then give him some freckles like Gordon Freeman, and then spray his hair, and then he'll be perfect.
Oh my gosh.
He'll be gross.
Okay, Gordon Ramsay would be terrifying. I feel like if there's an alien invasion, then Gordon Ramsay would be the person I want in the front lines, because that man can put the fear of God in anyone.
Yes. Very true. So everybody. With
now
that,
you've gotten a lot of insight into our brains. I hope you're I hope we haven't scarred you too much.
Hopefully there will be much more if we're able to to do this again. But please let us know what you thought about it. What you thought about the podcast and our terrible brains and how video gamey we are and nerdy.
Yeah. Terrible lot of things. But yeah, definitely we like any feedback. If there's anything any topics you guys can think of that you'd love to hear our terrible brains pour some insight onto, just let us know.
And also, so you may have noticed that the quality of both of our audio is not great. We're trying to improve that. I'm currently in a new room where there's nothing in here, so it's very echoey. So I apologize, and we're trying to make everything better. But we're kind of just kickstarting this to see if how well it works.
It's a beta.
Right,
it's a beta. Get it? Because we're nerds.
And we want to.
I think I win the bad microphone because I'm using a USB connected headset that my dad uses to dictate law things to. So
he's probably already
since
broken
the
from
90s.
That.
I swear he's had this thing since the 90s. So this is probably garbage. I'm sorry.
They did have USB in the 90s, so that's.
It's true.
Possible.
Floppy disks, kids. Do you remember floppy disks? I remember them.
Yeah, of course.
I've met people that don't know what floppy disks are, and it's the problem of working with young people where you're like, I'm not old, but you make me feel old. You
kids in your cloud storage.
The cloud. Oh my gosh. Well, and on that note.
Once again, thank you so much. This has been Heart Attack Mac and Alyssa. Thank you so much for watching or listening rather than you're really just staring at a blank screen.
This is good for your brain. Use your imagination, kids.
Yeah, use it, yeah. Well, we have pictures of us on there, sort of, so make us look better in your heads.
Exactly. I actually have six-pack abs. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
And then also a quick shout out to Luna. Thank you for drawing us and editing us and just, being all around awesome because you make my channel what it is and I would not exist if it wasn't for you. So thank you everybody, and we will hopefully talk to you soon. Bye bye.